All right, so welcome to another New York Mets game recap slash reaction as the New York Mets were facing the St. Louis Cardinals today and win the game 7-3. We know that going into this game, the storyline was Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer pitching in the same game, but both of them pitching for the New York Mets, and they did not disappoint as we saw Jacob deGrom on the mound started off 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, struck out 5 batters through 52 pitches, and then Max Scherzer followed him up going 6 innings, giving up 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts, and Max Scherzer threw 90 pitches. You heard me right, 90 pitches in the spring training game. Max Scherzer is built different, even as advanced age. I mean, this guy is a straight up pit bull out there. This guy has just a different mentality than other pitchers. What's up, Merlin? What up, everybody that has joined so far? DeGrom, guys, run support sure did 7 runs. We'll get to the offense next. And the offense, obviously, the highlight of the game, no doubt about it, was Francisco Lindor having 3 hits, driving in 3 of those 7 runs, hitting 2 home runs in this game, 1 from the left side and 1 from the right side. What a game by both of them and Lindor, too. And that's what you want to see. I mean, you want to see your stars step up. I mean, those are the 3 highest paid players on the New York Mets: Max Scherzer, Francisco Lindor, and Jacob deGrom. All 3 of them stepping up today. Hello, Nelson Cruz. Hello, everyone. And yes, Max Scherzer definitely does have a different mentality. And you saw it on display. Even when he gives up the home run in the 9th inning, Max Scherzer is already, saying some dirty words to himself, so to speak, to keep it PG. But I did like to see Lindor get hits from the both sides, hitting those home runs. We saw some other guys step up. Mark Cannon drives in another run. I am very intrigued that so far we've seen Mark Cannon bat 2 a lot in this past week or so. I don't know if that's what Buck Showalter is leaning towards. That isn't exactly what I would do. I would have Mark Cannon bat maybe a little lower in the lineup, like maybe instead of having Robinson Cano bat after Alonso, maybe that's where you put Mark Cannon, because I just don't think Robinson Cano, even if he's going to play, he cannot be batting right behind Pete Alonso, because you saw what happened today where the Mets have a couple guys on. Pete Alonso's at the plate. They walked Pete Alonso to face Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano has the bases loaded, and he hits into a double play. And I just feel that Pete Alonso is the best power hitter on the Mets. And if you put a hitter behind him like Robinson Cano that teams don't really fear, then you're kind of just defeating the whole purpose of having Pete Alonso on your team. If teams aren't going to actually pitch to him, then he's not going to be able to do what he can. He can't play to the best of his ability. But if you put a guy that's a little more established like Mark Cannon behind him, I feel a lot more confident with Cannon there than I do with somebody like Robinson Cano. But if it were up to me, I would have Nimmo and Marte as my 1 and 2 guys. Starling Marte is another big storyline today. Made his first spring training debut as far as in-game action. Played right field, and he batted 9th. I wouldn't have batted Marte 9th. That's somewhere I would put maybe Jeff McNeil or somebody else. But I guess since this was Marte's first game as a Met, Buck Showalter's still experimenting with things, and he doesn't really have that much more time to experiment. So I hope that he does come to a place where it's like, okay, this is the lineup I like. It's unfortunate we did not get to see Brandon Nimmo today. He does have some thumb soreness. Should be back in the next game the Mets play, but we'll see. Let's see what else we have. Shreve so far. I don't know about Scherzer or Chase and Shreve, but both of them have pitched well. DeGrom is still DeGrom for sure. And once again, DeGrom didn't throw 102, but what's more important, he was healthy and he pitched well. That's all I care about. I don't need DeGrom throwing 102. I just need him getting it done. Mark Cannon, we love him. Lindor stepped up. Escobar looks good. Well, yeah, Escobar at the home run yesterday. He had the sacrifice fly today. So Ador Escobar's been swinging a pretty good bat so far. I like what I'm seeing. Awesome game. Amazing game. It definitely was a good one. You like to see a nice little 7-3 ball game. Will the Mets trade Nimmo, Yency, Zapucki, and prospects, Mark Vientos, oh my goodness, and Joshua Corneli to the Guardians for Jose Ramirez and name Starling Marte their leadoff hitter? I don't think the Mets have any intentions of trading Brandon Nimmo. So if they're not going to trade Nimmo, they're going to need to really up the offer to get Jose Ramirez. But we'll see about that. Mets are in talks with Tony Watson. I did see that last night. If they bring him in, I'm good with that. The one concern I do have is that when it comes to spring training, the longer you wait to sign a player, I feel like they're going to be less effective. I would much rather get the guy early on in spring training, give him more time to work with them, and don't rush him right in. If I'm going to sign Tony Watson, I want to do it now, not later. So we'll see what happens there. But I do like that so far. Alex Claudio and Jason Shreve have pitched well. We'll see what happens when it comes to, the regular season. And can you make those guys your loogies, so to speak, facing left-handed batters? And as we know, the Mets are going to face a lot of really tough lefties just about every single day when it comes to division games. So I am curious to see how that works out once spring training is over. On-base percentage, Chad in the 2 spot put Eduardo Escobar behind Pete Alonso. they could do that, but I mean, I just don't like banging Marte ninth. I feel like Marte should be higher in the order, and Robinson Cano should be either on the moon or just off the team altogether. Was if Scherzer is good in spring training? Yeah, I mean, Scherzer, like, DeGrom is DeGrom, Scherzer is Scherzer. I didn't have any worry about either one of those guys' performances. I'm just more concerned about health. If those two guys are healthy, they're going to pitch great. Tony wants to be great. Let's sign him tonight, tomorrow. Hey, listen, sign me up today or tomorrow. I'll take it. Do you think Jankowski will be the fourth outfielder? At this point, I do feel like he will be the fourth outfielder because we saw Khalil Lee and Nick Plummer get sent down. And Jankowski, he is a guy that he had a hit today. He had a walk today. He's shown his speed a little bit. He's played really solid defense in the outfield. So he does a lot of different things. I definitely think that he has a really good chance of making this team because at least he has some kind of major league experience. So as of right now, I do have Jankowski as the fourth outfielder on the Mets. I know that's not necessarily like this name where it's like, oh my gosh, Jankowski's our fourth outfielder. Look at our depth. Oh man, we were in such good shape. It's not that kind of situation, but I do think that he will make the team. And we'll see what happens. I mean, if Khalil Lee has a great year in spring training, maybe the Mets will call him up at some point. But I think just to start off, they'll have Jankowski. Latest on Tuesday, Watson's reliable player. I would love that move. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind it. Marte makes really good plays. Yeah, I like seeing that Starling Marte was running around out there in right field. It didn't really look like the oblique was holding him back too much. It was interesting that he showed bunt the very first pitch that they threw to him today, and you're thinking, oh, maybe he's not going to swing. Maybe he still can't really swing in game action, but he sure did start swinging. He had a double in his second plate appearance. He also scored on a nice RBI from Mark Hanna where he read the ball really well, and he made a couple of nice running catches in right field. Definitely see what that speed could do, and speed is something so important to have. The Mets haven't really had too much of it in recent years, so I hope that they definitely utilize it with Starling Marte, and similar to him with DeGrom and Scherzer, just keep him healthy. Here we go. Well, the Mets trade J.D., Dom, Mauricio, and Jonadar Suarez, and the 11th pick in the draft for Brewers and Josh Hader and Cass. That is quite. I don't know if I trade Mauricio for a reliever, but that's pretty close. I mean, I don't think the Brewers are looking to do that yet, but we'll see. Let's say if the Brewers are having a bad year, maybe at the deadline they'll move Josh Hader, but as of right now, I wouldn't really predict that. The boys forgetting that Travis Jaski has been a good player. He was pretty solid last year, so I can't say I'm shocked, but I definitely like what I'm seeing. As a backup, you really can't complain. I mean, it's better than Albert Almora, so at least in that regard, it definitely is an upgrade. Yeah, and like I was saying, Marte definitely has a good feel for running the bases. A.P. Alonso also had a couple hits in this game. Tomas Nido, a nice opposite field home run. So we definitely saw a lot of offense from a lot of different areas, and I'm just very glad that they're able to pull this off. And then, as far as the Cardinals, they didn't have that many of the regulars out there. They had a few guys, Carlson, Bader, DeYoung is kind of debatable. Is it DeYoung? Is it Sosa? I mean, they didn't have guys like Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt and Tyler O'Neill. So it wasn't the full team, but it definitely was good to see the Mets win this one. And then the same goes for yesterday. The Mets had a nice win. Yesterday we saw Eduardo Escobar at a home run. Taijuan Walker was scoreless outing. Brandon Nimmo, a couple hits. Jeff McNeil, a couple of Jeff McNeil had a really nice game yesterday going to the opposite field. So I definitely was very excited to see them play so well, yesterday and today. Then they get the off day tomorrow. So I definitely like to see them continue this pace and keep doing what they're doing. And just, try to get ready for the regular season, figure out who's going to start, who's coming off the bench, and just get everybody healthy. I mean, that's going to be the most important thing heading into the season. So does anyone have any other questions about spring training, the Mets, baseball in general? What else do we got here? As I'm going to see if I can try to get any other Mets Weekly members to join if they want to share their opinions on what is going on with spring training. Carlson's great. I mean, Dylan Carlson's looking pretty good so far. The couple of times the Mets have played him because, I mean, the way spring training is, you literally face the same handful of teams the whole time. You're facing the Astros, the Cardinals, the Nationals, and the Marlins. I mean, those are the only teams you're going to face. So we've seen the Cardinals a couple of times already. Are we going to see them again? Yeah, we'll see them April 1st. So we're going to keep playing them. Let's see. Have you heard the reports of Escobar telling us of how he got to the majors? I did. He talked to the minor league camp this morning, and that's something that they've been saying since they signed Eduardo Escobar. Really good guy, really good clubhouse guy, which, I mean, you never could that's always a good thing to have, especially what we saw last year. If you want to get to the whole raccoon squirrel thing, McNeil and Lindor, just having those good clubhouse guys, keep the team in tune, in focus, and just keep everybody together, all pulling on the same rope, whatever you want to call it, all on the same side, all on the same team. That's what we like. McFeeble hours are the major hours. whatever that means. I mean, Jeff McNeil played well yesterday. Everyone's real silent. Then he doesn't play as well today, and now all of a sudden we're very talkative. But that's how it goes. A predict your lineup, it's tough. I mean, like I have a lineup in mind, but I'm guessing based off what Buck Showalter has been doing, I think this lineup we saw today might be the lineup we see, other than maybe Jeff McNeil leading off. I'm sorry, Brandon Nimmo leading off, and then I guess they could do something like Nimmo, Canna, Lindor, Alonso, and then I guess they're going to put Cano there. Then you could put McNeil, and I'm just trying to figure out how they want to do this. I guess Marte bats ninth, and then you put the catcher right in front of him. So I guess that's what they're looking at. But again, we'll see, because they haven't had all 9 guys play together yet. So I think that once we see that, that'll give us an indicator of where they're going lineup-wise. And they also got to, make sure – I don't know. I think it's going to be weird how they do it. But it feels up to me. I would do Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Alonso. Then I'd go maybe Escobar or Canna, either one. And then I would have, I guess, Cano, the catcher, whether that's McCann or Nito. And then I would have the 9th hitter be Jeff McNeil. Consistency, because everybody gets on base all 162 games, right? The very common 162 game streak. I mean, Joe DiMaggio, his streak meant nothing because everybody else gets on base and gets hits every single game. I mean, Neil gave me consistency. He gave me a walk today. He went to the opposite field a little bit. He didn't strike out. All I asked for was Jeff McNeil to put the ball in play, and he did that today. So take that, you nerd. Yeah, I'm glad that Marte looks healthy. That's huge. Miguel is making the case for his rotation. He certainly is, but as of right now, rotation's a little full. When will Bassett pitch? I hope soon. I really do. Hopefully we get to see him on TV, because he pitched in an away game.
He should be going Tuesday.
I don't. Do they have the problem? I don't know if they have it set up. Let's see if they show it. Tuesday, and it doesn't have who's pitching, but I hope he is. That'd be nice.
He did the sim game on Thursday, so.
And that game is away, so we probably won't even see him. So, as if that's a surprise. Here's some great news. Breaking news. Anthony DeComo. James McCann is ready to go per Buck Showalter and will return Tuesday. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
McChicken revenge season, baby. Let's go.
McCann coming back to take his job. Mini Pudge Rodriguez trying to take it with opposite field home run. McCann's not going to let that happen on his watch.
Don't forget the single, too. He had another a missile single, too.
He also had a weak ground ball, but, we don't care about those because all that matters is fly balls. And I think it's interesting that they said so far every time Scherzer's pitched, Tomas Nido has caught him. And I feel like that's probably what they're going to do. And that's how you should do. Whatever pitcher is comfortable, whatever catcher, that's how it works. Whether Bassett prefers McCann or Nido, whatever Scherzer prefers, that's what it's all about. It's all about the pitcher. The catcher is there to help out the pitcher. So that's the way I see it. Friday, what do you think about the game on Friday going Apple TV? I really hate that. I mean, that's not how you grow your game. If anything, that's how you don't grow your game, because I personally don't have Apple TV, and I don't want to pay Apple TV just to watch games. I think that's really annoying. And they're putting all kinds of services, Peacock, and who knows what else we're going to see. I mean, Andrew, what do you think about the Apple TV garbage?
Yeah, when they signed that deal, you knew they were going to have at least a big opening weekend game. But what's bigger than Max Scherzer making his Mets debut? So I'm not surprised by it. Obviously, it pisses us off. There's always a way, which if anyone needs it, just tweet at me on the Friday. I got you. If you don't got Apple TV, I got you a link. You can watch the game. Don't matter what it is, but it's what they're doing. I've seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, this is great for the game," because it's taking a big game and putting it on the app that nobody has. Like you said, I didn't realize Apple TV wasn't even a thing. So for that to come out, I'm like, whatever. I mean, it sucks again, but especially today's game, you can find any game anywhere. So if it was back in the day where it's you can only watch it, there's the only way to watch it is that would suck. But in today's world, you can find loopholes and you'll be able to watch the game no problem. So it does suck that Ron and Gary and Keith can't call. Sure, it's Mets debut, but
what worries me is that I feel like you open the door to where now more companies could jump in and do the same thing. And if I have to pay, for this subscription and that subscription and that subscription, plus don't forget how much we're getting crushed on cable. I mean, if you live in Long Island, you're paying insane amounts for cable. So they're really just trying to really break the pockets just to watch baseball. I mean, I think the NBA and NFL, especially the NBA, is such a league that they always do smart things. I don't see the NBA doing any Apple TV games. So why is Major League Baseball feel entitled to it? They just want to make money from the other companies. They don't want to make money from the fans. They just want to make money from the other companies. So that's what really aggravates me. And we're crying poverty. Oh, COVID, we lost money. We lost money. Oh yeah, sure you did. The Mets record. The Mets will win 91 games. That's just off the top of my head. That's where I'm leaning.
But, my vid will be out this weekend.
Okay, so we can't do any spoilers.
I mean, I'll say that it's lower than what Merlin was saying on Mets Weekly's chat. I'll say it's way lower.
I don't think the Mets are winning 100.
Nope.
They would need everything to go right. It normally doesn't, but I mean, who knows? It was nice to see that the offense finally had a big game, like with the starters doing it, not the bench players, because we know that's what it's going to come down to. Especially when you have DeGrom and Scherzer out there, just score a few runs and you're going to win the game. Did you have any other thoughts of what you saw for either today or yesterday or just in general?
I mean, yeah, it was good to see Marte out there. And like you said, I thought he was going to take, get that first AB and then he gets the double and, reading the ball, perfect read with the pop-up off Cannon's bat. Made some great plays. I know everyone's like, obviously I've made it clear that Nimmo is the center fielder. But hell, his range in right field, I am completely fine leaving him out there. Yeah. Some of the balls he was getting to, obviously, we know how I feel about the first baseman. He's, a rotust man. He's not the greatest of, fleetest of foot. So if you put Marte in right, some of these bleeders that would fall in between, like when maybe Conforto and Alonso. Now Marte in right, he can get to those balls that maybe Conforto didn't. Even though Conforto could cover some ground, he wasn't as fast as Marte, and he can get to the balls maybe Pete or McNeil can't get to. He can, and he's got the better arm. So I think he made a great impression first day on. Obviously, Nimmo's been heel Nimmo. Got hit yesterday, so that was cool to see. But he still kind of looked bad so far in spring.
And thumb soreness.
Now on his birthday, he's getting his thumb, hurting his thumb, which is always great. Good birthday present. Yeah, birthday present from heel Nimmo. There you go. It's a broken thumb, but Lindor, 3 hits and 3 missiles. Like they weren't even like I'm not Mets fan. I'm not calling you up, but you've said it's true. A lot of weak dribblers. From Lindor.
He caught some line drives today, especially the right side. He's just so much better. His swing is so much pure. Because even his home run from the left side, he had 2 huge uppercut foul balls. He had a really weak foul to the catcher. I was like, oh my god, here we go. No one of those at bats. All of a sudden, he caught one and hit it out. This will come out almost before opening day, so probably maybe next week probably around next weekend, sometime around there. Then I'll do those prediction kind of things. He's also they can win the division, but we'll see what the Braves have to say about that. I mean, we'll know where the Mets are in the division when they actually face the Braves head-to-head, because we know they've struggled in that area, and that's what's going to come down to, win those head-to-head matchups.
And not just one series like last year. We're like, they went to Atlanta and beat the Braves. No, more than one series against the Braves. Let's calm down here with the Braves do have a better team, but come on.
And one of the things I was thinking is that with this Starling Marte playing right field, I wonder how much Brandon Nimmo saying publicly, I want to play center field, affected the Mets moving Marte over to right field and not kind of hurt the relationship with Brandon Nimmo going into his last year, before free agency. I wonder how much that affected their decision, and the fact that Marte hasn't really said anything public. He's kind of I'll play whatever, wherever they want me to. So. Yeah. I wonder if that's what happened.
And that is
Matt
kind of
a. I don't know about that. I don't think Matt will boo Matt Olson. Maybe by the end of the year they will. By the end of the year they will, but maybe not to start off.
I could see Braves if he doesn't come off start, because obviously he's replacing Freddie. If he doesn't start
for the Braves,
I could see that happen.
I get what you're saying.
I know Braves fans aren't like the Mets fans; they're going to boo their own players. But you're replacing Freddie,
Yeah. And Matt Olson is great, but those are some big shoes to fill. And it's not so much how good Freddie is. People say, it's always what he just meant to the organization. Being there so long, homegrown, all that, being there in the highs and lows. And Stroman's getting booed by Mets fans, yes. By Cubs fans.
He's definitely getting booed.
Don't boo. They're good fan base, but we'll see what happens. I hope the Mets actually do get to face Stroman. I know they'll face the Cubs, but I hope it lines up to where they do get to face Stroman. That'd be pretty good, especially if it's Scherzer Stroman.
That would be electric television.
That'd really be a good game. But we'll see what happens when they get there, and all the other former Mets we'll see along the way. I wonder if we see Mats at one point. Cardinals, Mets in those series. Maybe they'll see Mats. Who knows?
I mean, as of right now, I don't know this for some reason. The first end of April series, it's the Mets. It's Bassett, Carrasco, and McGill, whoever the 3, 4, and 5 lines up with the Mets.
Okay.
So if the Cardinals do match up with that, potentially you do see Steven Matz versus the Mets that first series in St. Louis. So
yeah, I wonder if we see Syndergaard too, and the Mets face the Angels. I mean, that would be a big game as well. So we'll see how many of those former pitchers we run into along the way, and we'll see plenty of Jerry Familia, Brad Hand. I know that for sure.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Facts.
So
the only time JD Davis will be productive.
Yeah, I just find it interesting how they brought him in like at the end of the game today, swinging first pitch out. It just feels like they tried to play him in right field earlier at some point this spring training. That's not a position for him at all. And more, just feeling like he doesn't really have a role. And if you don't play him, it's going to be hard to really get his trade value up. So I just wonder how that's going to end up going. Anyway, strolling over, I've never heard of this Wyatt young kid who's.
I had no idea who that guy was.
It was the first time I ever seen him or heard his name be mentioned. I know like a good amount of the backups, but he was brand new to me. But he's 5'7", which, listen, I love the short guy. I always root for the short guy. I hope Wyatt Young does well, but I don't think this is a guy we're seeing at any point during the major league season. I feel like this is a guy that's just filling in. This way nobody gets hurt. He don't overuse the starters and things like that. But I mean, we'll see.
I mean, did you see his low A numbers, bro? He hit 304 and a 904 OPS. That's elite right there.
I mean, we love good batting average, so who knows? I mean, maybe he starts the year in single A or double A. And Janesh Fargas, he got to, we finally saw the guy, but we still haven't seen him hit yet, which is kind of frustrating. But at least he's still in camp. I feel like he's one of those guys that's just there to keep the starters rested for those last couple innings. And they bring in Francisco Alvarez to pinch run.
Run. Why?
What are you doing? Do you not know how valuable this guy is and how we need to keep him healthy? Do not bring Francisco Alvarez into pinch run. Leave Cano out there and let him tear his hamstring. I mean, come on now.
And that's the best part. And that's the best part. He replaces the most useless part of this team, and he put the best asset this team's got. Oh, go run, Tub. Okay, that's great.
I mean, you want to the whole point of having these guys like the Wyatt Young and Janesh Fargas on the roster is to protect your guys from injuries. But with Cano, if he gets hurt, I mean, I'm not gonna actually lose sleep over it. But I mean, what are they gonna do with this guy? Like for real? Because I know he got a hit today, but it is just so often where he hits the ball. Don't get me wrong, he hits it, but it goes nowhere. He can't be batting after Pete Alonso, like batting fifth. I mean. That is just you have those four guys, whether the combination of whether it's Nimmo Canna, Nimmo Marte Lindor, like whatever combo you go, you have a lot of good players getting on base, and then it's Cano, and you're like, it does such a drop off. Yeah. I cannot believe that they've been batting him this high. He's got to move down to 7 or 8. He has to if he's going to play. He's got to bat 7th or 8th. Yeah.
And if Dom's hitting, what's the point? He's going to be the DH. If McFeeble's going to play second, then if Dom's hitting, and this isn't even like a point of, let's say if Cano was right-handed, Dom was left-handed, you can platoon. They're both
they're both left-handed.
Dom's hitting, Cano's not doing anything. But yet the fact that he, obviously $20 million, again, the only reason he's still here is that number next to his paycheck. Just send him to Ellsbury Robida Island. Just go. Yeah. Just sit at home. Collect your paycheck for the next 2 years and just go. Just go away. I don't care. No. Just go away.
I just can't believe he's taking playing time away from other young players. And it was the annoying part of it is that the Mets have this contract on the book, so it prevents them from doing other things. Like Andy Martino, how much Stockton Plinton said, Mets couldn't get Kyle Schwarber because they have to pay Robinson Cano. So he hurts them in that regard. And then it's like, okay, so we can't get any new players. But also because of the money he's getting paid, we have to play him. It's like, I mean, I know you can't just Bobby Bonilla him because you don't want to have Happy Robinson Cano Day till the day you die. But at some point, something's got to give where too much has been invested in this team to have somebody like that holding them down. And then again, batting him fifth, putting him in such an important role when he really hasn't earned it, in my opinion, because he hasn't shown me that he could be good as a Met without PEDs. And like I was saying, I tweeted, kind of sarcastically, but he's putting the ball in play. That's great. Imagine if this guy's some steroids, he's putting the ball in play. All of a sudden, maybe a couple of those are hits. So, I mean, that's how I see it. Who is this?
Who is that? Some tip.
Is this the young guy, the Wyatt dude?
Yeah, I think it was
thought
like I think he was like they said like a
uh,
fifth round. Yeah,
No, I mean, again, I don't think we'll see him much. I wouldn't really worry about him too much. He was just kind of there.
minor league.
So, whatever. Played soon, JD and Dom. What's weird is that I know JD is better against lefties, but Dom's kind of better against
Dom's
lefties.
better against lefties too.
So,
Like, yeah.
I mean, if you trade JD, just have Dom the full DH, give Robinson Cano, Jed Lowry, Nisorn, and then you can see what happens. And at the deadline, you can kind of assess, what do we need? And maybe they're saving JD Davis for that. Like, wait till you see what you need and use JD Davis as your best trade asset while not touching your farm system. Because, I mean, losing JT again, it was kind of big. I mean, that was a pretty nice trade piece to have as far as like guys you're going to trade. Because now, if you want to get anything significant, you're looking at your top 5 prospects pretty much. You're looking at a Matt Allen, you're looking at Mauricio, at Vientos. So now they got to be really careful if they want to make any more big trades, who they're giving up. And who knows if the rotation, if someone gets hurt or is not performing well, and Tyler Mahle or even Luis Castillo is still available, maybe that's what they're going for.
And I know you got in a beef with a certain person about this draft pick and this draft class, but that's the benefit of having this draft class, that you're going to have so many picks to reload that farm. I'm not saying trade them right away. I'm not saying that's not what I'm entailing. But then let's say, and we had the same conversation when Zach Scott came over. This is now the Ep-Dog draft class and the Ep-Dog era. So maybe he doesn't have the same attachments like we saw with PCA.
Yeah,
and now
I mean, JT again, it's like, I'm not saying a Brody guy. Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying he's gonna do that. But now you have the big draft that the Mets have coming up to replenish it with Ep-Dog guys, high on base Chads pretty much, and then guys who have funky mustaches and are tubs.
That's what they like. And right now, the Mets still have that pick right where it is. It hasn't moved back 10 slots
yet. Not moved yet. Nope.
Now, do you think the Mets would – I don't think they would, but do you think they would sign Tony Watson to a contract that his number would put them in the area where the draft pick is going back 10 slots?
I think Watson's value is like equal to just some – I think the Mets are like $5 million away from that number, I believe. So Watson at that number, and hell, this isn't going to happen. But again, we're 2 weeks to opening day. It could be a minor league deal. They could get him on a minor league deal just to have him start.
I think that's what they're going for. I think they're holding out until he accepts a minor league deal. That's just my personal opinion. They did that with Shreve, with Claudio, with Montgomery. I think they're just trying to get minor league deals for relievers because we know investing in a lot of relievers. We know how risky it could be. And I wonder if they would. I just wonder how they're valuing Conforto in the draft sense, where if you sign Conforto, that pick is going back 10 slots, and you're also losing that compensatory pick. So I just wonder, how much they're valuing Conforto in that, because there's plenty of teams that could use him. Like the Texas Rangers and Michael Conforto be a great fit. You could move one of the Calhouns, whether it's Willie or Cole Calhoun, not Willie, not Cole, but one of the Calhouns, and then have Conforto play there. Maybe even if it's just a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, get his stock back up, and then you can get a much better deal. But I'm just curious to see how much the Mets are trying to really – like I know Cohen said, we'll probably go over that tax. They're calling it the Steve Cohen tax. But I think because they have those 2 draft picks, they would like to keep both of them in a really nice spot where it's not going back 10 slots. And like you said, build up this farm system. And whether they're going to use them or trade them, that remains to be seen. But I think that's kind of where they're at, just trying to stay just under it, and with all the money that they've spent so far this offseason.
And I don't know if you're going to take this as good news or bad news, because I do think they're waiting on to see how Cano plays. Because if Cano is what we think he has been and continues to be, then that would potentially, I'm not saying it's going to officially, but if he comes out the gates and sucks like we expect him to, then maybe the need for Conforto would come out. I don't think they're going. I think they're keeping in touch with him, but I don't think they need him. Because really there's no spot with him right now. You've got the Chad left. Yeah, they got the Chad left.
He would have the DH.
Yeah. So, and yes, if Dom would be like, you have Dom in house, which you could probably do that. If Dom's hitting, then that kind of elevates Conforto even more. If Dom comes up and hits like he was in 2020, fluke or not, he hits like that, like he's hit during spring, then Conforto's obsolete here. But if Cano does what we expect him to do and just fall off the face of the earth, can't hit anything but weak ground balls to the right side, left-handed Lindor style, then there's a chance. But I don't think he comes back unless it's, again, something cheap that they're just a holdout just continues. And like, again, maybe they do that draft pick waiting till post-draft, which would be stupid on Boris's side. But he did get Kimbrel a 4-year deal after that, so it still worked. So maybe, the teams would be willing to give him the bigger deal after the draft pick comp. So I'm not saying he should do that, but Boris is like a Keuchel got to think a 3-year deal and Kimbrel got a 4-year deal. So it
right
worked.
after that, period expired where they didn't have to give up the draft pick anymore. And those guys were pitchers, so we haven't really seen something like this in a position player in I feel like quite some time where teams would be willing to wait that long just for the sake of the draft pick, which is why you would think that maybe with the CBA they would have worked on trying to have that eliminated, which I think the whole international draft discussion they're going to have in that June, July is going to be related to that. And if, this whole qualifying offer thing. So, I mean, we'll see how that works out because that's going to end up being a pretty big thing in, what teams target what players. So I'm curious to see how that thing holds out. But off the top of your head, I know it's kind of on the spot, but let's say Robinson Cano is not playing well and Michael Porter's signed somebody else. So that option is not available. And Dom Smith's just kind of, the Mets still could use one more big bat, potentially DH. Is anyone you see on the trade market that could be available come trade season? I know Nelson Cruz is going to be available. Is there anyone else that you could think of that maybe one of these other teams are kind of holding on to? Like, I guess J-Ram, but I mean, I'm trying to think what other guys could be available around deadline time because we've seen a lot of guys get moved already. So, there might be some surprise teams that we expect to be decent but could become sellers around the deadline time. So maybe some teams we're not thinking about now could end up being in that discussion. Like the way Minnesota was just, they weren't as good as they were supposed to be.
And they blow it up. I mean
could the Royals be moving some guys around? But they don't have any big
they don't got anybody. Like Salvador, like they're not gonna move Salvi. And that's a DH. All right. You got to look at who's an upcoming UFA. And I'm pulling up. I know the best one is the best shortstop in the game. And that is
I don't think the Dodgers are going to be too competitive to move Trey. That's the problem.
I mean, there is a name which is going to piss off a lot of Mets fans. If a la the Twins have another meltdown season, maybe you call him in for that. Well, no, I wish. He's already called twice already. I mean, I'm serious. If they suck, I'm calling him about Correa. He's got the opt-out.
I mean,
seriously think about it. No, but seriously think about it. If they suck, Correa's got all leverage. He can opt out. If he's having his Correa year and they suck, they're not going anywhere. He's just going to leave him in the offseason and try to get paid again. So if I'm the Twins, especially with the haul I just got back for Barrios last year, I'm not saying he's going to get the comp package to what they got for Barrios, but it'd be pretty damn close because you're talking about Carlos Correa here. That could be a guy you look out for.
I think
free agent as we speak.
Correa would have to show the willingness to move still, whether it's third base or second base or whatever. And I think if the Mets didn't sign him to that deal in free agency, they're not going to take that deal via trade. I think the Twins aren't going to give up on him quite yet. But like I said, he's probably going to opt out, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if he opted out in year one.
Maybe the Marlins.
Mountcastle or one of those guys, could they be available?
I wouldn't think. I think they're trying to build something there. Obviously, Adley's already hurt, but he'll be fine in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it wasn't huge. He should be back pretty soon.
It is a very weak upcoming free agent class. Holy.
Well, this year would seem like it was the big year, especially with all those shortstops available. So I'm just trying to think of the.
Obviously,
sellers. Could the Cubs? The Cubs have a lot of young pieces. I don't think they're really going to be moving too many guys. The Reds don't have that many guys left. I mean, Moustakas is probably available, but it depends what kind of year he's having.
I mean, if depending on what Miami does, maybe Soler.
He could. He signed a 3-year deal. Maybe.
And he's like Correa. Again, you got to think they're all opt-outs. So you got to think yes, Miami I think is going to be trying. They're going to be sneaky this year. But if that doesn't happen, I know Kim Ng was last year with Duvall, but hey, maybe you say, what, screw it, give them what the prospect they want because it ended up being a lie because he traded Duvall in Atlanta. So maybe keep that in mind, a bat. But there really isn't in big bat. If you're talking Cespedes-esque,
not even assessments, but
maybe
just somebody to
Correa.
take over for Cano or just like another guy to be the DH.
If you want to go cheaper, but it's gonna be in division. It's probably Nelson Cruz. But like one, are you gonna do probably a solid prospect in division? Like you got to do that, and obviously if you're going
and
big,
then
I'm just trying to
like trading with the Mets at all.
At all.
I mean, we still have a
Look at maybe the year after. Let me look at next year's free agent class. Let's just see after
because
next season.
The way I look at it is that we know Cleveland's willing to listen, Oakland's willing to listen. Yeah. I mean, teams like that, Cincinnati, those teams, maybe even Colorado. I mean, does Arizona? There is a guy from the.
There's a guy, but I mean,
there's a guy.
I mean, I'm making McFeeble available if they want to trade me that guy. I mean,
yeah, I would put McNeil in that trade for Ketel Marte. I'd do it. I mean, would. And then is there a scenario where if Jeff McNeil does play as bad as everybody says he is there a way that Mark Canha moves to third base, Escobar moves to second, the Mets get another outfielder, or?
I think that's more of an MLB The Show thing, Frank. That's more of an MLB The Show thing, but offensively, there wouldn't be that. I wouldn't mind that offensively because then you're adding a big bat in the outfield. But defensively, Canha hasn't played third base or corner since like 2018.
Yeah, it would be a tough fit, but I'm trying to think. Like he's the only guy that really can move, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can move. Or you do what we've all been saying is, hey, you trade McNeil, move Eddie to second, you get a third baseman. That's still an option.
Can you imagine if Chris Bryant is available at the trade block?
Give it a year. Trust me, give it a year. They'll move him about a year and a half.
I mean, they did with Arenado. They didn't keep him the whole time. So I'm surprised if 2 years from now, 3 years from now, Chris Bryant is available again. And then, oh my gosh, can you imagine the rumors start with him?
Dude, it's the same thing with what's it called? Starling Marte. It just took a few years.
They talked about Marte for a long time, since like 18, 19, like
17, 16, 17. They've always had these Marte rumors.
Because I remember they're talking about I think putting Nimmo in the deal, right?
Yeah,
put Nimmo in the deal to get Marte, but good thing that didn't happen. But I'm trying to think if there's any teams that maybe have some guys available, because I think they do have to be prepared for, let's say, Cano is not performing and they need just maybe one more bat, because we've all said, like, if it could use one more bat, it definitely could use another guy, especially like a power bat that could, hit home runs. But
I have a name. But again, we're talking about the most dysfunctional organization in baseball. Just gave him an extension. I'd see if CJ Cron's available. That would be a guy you want to platoon against lefties.
Yeah, he's good against lefties.
And if you can find a Jock Peterson, I know I always say Jock Peterson, like, Jock Peterson, he's still good. But like when I say Jock Peterson, I mean a BR guy who just absolutely kills right-handed pitching. If you want to platoon, like the Braves did, find the guy. If you want to trade for Cron, and then find that righty killer for the DH, I'm fine with that. Maybe a team like, I wouldn't say the Red Sox are going to trade a JD Martinez, but maybe financially.
I would be surprised if they did. I think knowing Klein Bloom, I think he would definitely like to get that contract off the books.
So that's a guy maybe you think about.
I can see him getting moved at some point.
My personal bias towards one of my favorite players who's washed, but I would love to see Chuck Nasty, and he's trash outside of Colorado. But I love Chuck. That's just a personal favorite of mine. I would love to see, but it's not. It wouldn't be the caliber bat we need. Yeah. But maybe do it the Braves again. And I know everyone's like, they want these big moves, and the Braves go out in the deadline and make all these like at the time.
If the Mets get 3 to 4 players and they kind of rotate them around, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen because of all the guys they added and that have like so much money committed to and spots guaranteed. I don't see the Mets adding like 3 to 4 guys. It'd be tough to find playing time for them, but if they did, I mean, you never know. And you hope that at least maybe one of them gives you a spark, gives you a strong second half. In the Braves case, all of them did. And I think that more so talks to the kind of ballpark they have. And, because all of a sudden a player goes there and your OPS goes up 200. Oh, yeah, that's normal.
I mean, but I will say this. Like, as you said, like, did the Braves expect to not have an outfield at the trade deadline with Acuna out, Marcell Ozuna beating his wife? Things are going to happen. And especially with this team right now, it might say Mets don't need that. The Mets aren't going to add. No, and look at I use the Dodgers as an example. They have the most loaded team in baseball, and at the deadline, they're still adding 3 to 4, 5, 6 bodies. They don't care, but also they have the ability. They have one of the best farm systems in the game, and they just keep popping out catching prospects and pitching prospects and middle infield. These guys just keep pitching. Like, let's trade Keibert Ruiz. We got Will Smith. We got what's the other one they traded? Oh, what's the guy that the Baltimore trade? They traded the guy that won the Yusnel Diaz. Oh, we've got now Gavin Lux, and like they keep just turning out. Like they got Michael Bush. They have another top catching prospect. These guys just keep turning out these guys. It's like, geez. But again,
so, I'm curious to see. But like you said, I mean, who knows who's gonna have a good year, who's gonna have a bad year, who's gonna be hurt, and the same goes like not for the Mets, but just all those other teams. And
you
like you said, some names that usually with the Mets, we don't even hear about who they're gonna go after. Like guys that aren't rumored, that's the guys that they picked up. So again, nice win by the Mets. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the stream. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching in the future, leave a like. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. If not, Andrew, you said you have something coming out soon. Could you want to give us any
I uploaded.
I said a hype video came out.
Yeah, everyone was a little negative on the team, and even I'm probably more negative than most. But I did upload a hype video. Just this is a good team, and I think now we're starting to see the last couple of games. There's some good ball players on this team, so I put a little hype package together. Also, again, season predictions, like predictions for MVP standings. Probably going to work on that, try to get that out this weekend. Obviously, if the man to my left knows MLB The Show coming out on Thursday night, midnight launch stream. I'll be streaming that, and that'll be back to like I did last year. When content up, streams are coming back. And again, like I said, Mets Weekly stuff on Thursday. Always check it out.
Yep.
That's what I
got. Yeah, so definitely make sure you guys are staying tuned to Mets Weekly. I have a video coming out tomorrow around this time, like the 5:30-ish range. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you everyone for watching. Until next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Let's go Mets. Nice win, everyone.